Om. Om. ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्तदामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीं नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्रया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्स सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रटजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनि अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरणनदी कैवर्तक केशवा पाराशयवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थगण्डोत्कटम् नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनावोदितं लोके सज्जनषट्पदैरहरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयात् भारतपङ्कजं कलिमला प्रध्वंसि न श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैर्गायन्ति यं सामगाः ज्ञानावस्थिततड्घटेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। थैंक यू।
धन्यवादः काव्य।
धन्यवादः।
ओम श्री कृष्ण परमात्मने नमः। अथ
ओम
प्रथमोऽध्यायः अर्जुन विषाद योगः। धृतराष्ट्रोवाच धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे समवेतायुयुत्सवः मामकाः पाण्डवाश्चैव किमकुर्वत सञ्जय। साईराम मंजरी भगिनी साईराम।
धन्यवाद भगिनी. हरि ओम. Good evening all of you. Welcome to English Bhagavad Gita sessions. So last week we have seen Kshatriya Dharma Varnana till 37th shloka 2.37 we have seen, and there from 2.11 to 2.29 we have seen that it was Sankhya Yoga. So Krishna telling Arjuna that who are you? And Atma Tattva, Atma Swarupa, how is Atma? It is indestructible and no one can kill it. So even if Bhishma Drona are killed in this war, their bodies will be killed. It's not Bhishma Drona, those who are getting destroyed or killed, because the Atma is eternal. And then after that, he does Kshatriya Dharma Varnana. So he says, Swadharmamapi chaveksha na vikampitum arhasi. Even if you perceive it from your dutiful point of view, there is nothing more righteous for a Kshatriya than waging a righteous war, he says. And then Yadrichaya Chopapannam Swargadwaram Apavrutam. It is unsought. You didn't wish to wage this war. So it has come on its own and it is pathway to Swarga. That's why you are so lucky. The Kshatriyas, those who get such a kind of war, so they are very lucky. So chance for fighting righteous war has come unsought in its normal course. So that's why you have to fight, he says. And then if you don't fight, what happens? You will papam avapsasi, you will get sin. And then he also tells people will katishanti te avyayam. So for the men of honor, all the living beings, all the people on this earth will hold you in reprobation. So then for men of honor, disgrace is worse than death. And what people will talk about you, bhayadrina tuparatam iti mausyante, all great warriors will consider you as coward, and due to your cowardly retreat, you will fall from the high esteem which they have put on you. So nobody will think that because you loved Bhishma Drona, that's why you didn't fight war. Nobody will think that. But they'll say that he was coward, that's why he ran away. So that's why Krishna says, Hatopi labate swarga jitvatu labate yashaha. If you are defeated and killed, you will go to Swarga. And if you win the battle, you will become a king. Both the way, it is win-win situation. So you shouldn't hesitate to fight this war. And finally, he says, Sukha dukkhe same krutva labha labho jaya jayau. So you don't worry about the results. So if you always think about the results, then you cannot perform your duty. You don't think who will win. You may be killed or Bhishma Drona may be killed. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about what happens finally. Just perform your duty. At least you will have the satisfaction of you performing your duty and you will not get sin. So get up and do yuddha. So this was till this shloka, it was Sankhya Yoga and then Kshatriya Dharma Varnana. So from now, he says, Bhagini, will you read or someone will read 39 shloka? Yeah. Yes.
अस्तु महोदय
Yeah.
एषा ते विहिता साङ्ख्ये बुद्धिर्योगे त्विमां शृणु बुद्ध्या युक्तो यया पार्थ कर्मबन्धं प्रहास्यसि
So he's telling Esha te abhihita sankhe. So till now, the way of wisdom has been narrated to you. So he's telling Partha, hey Partha, till now the way of wisdom has been narrated to you, and now the buddhya yukto yaya Partha, tu imam buddhir yoge tu imam shrunu, tu imam shrunu. Now the path of practicing will be narrated to you, by adhering to which in a right manner karma bandham prahasyasi, you can break the bonds of karma. That's what he is telling. Krishna is telling that. So till now what I have taught, I gave you the knowledge, but now it is the time to implement that. Karma means action. So now he starts karma yoga. That is how to implement what you have learned. So only having knowledge is not enough, we have to implement that. So Krishna is telling how to implement that in the coming shlokas. So as we have seen earlier, this Sankhya Yoga is the index of all the remaining chapters of Bhagavad Gita. So it gives the brief introduction of all the yogas. Sankhya Yoga is already done, and then now Karma Yoga started, and then Jnana Yoga is also there, Chitta Prajna is there, Bhakti Yoga is there. So it is introduction to all the yogas, all the chapters of Bhagavad Gita. So now it starts from Karma Yoga. So Krishna is teaching Arjuna how to practice the things that he has learned. So making Arjuna as instrumental, as we all know, is teaching it to all of us. He is teaching it to the mankind. So now Krishna says that, so the way of wisdom has been narrated to you, abhihitaha, it is narrated to you. So by knowing this karma yoga, by knowing how to implement, how to practice, so you will break the bonds of karma bandham prahasyasi. So you will not have any karma. That is, karma means you will not have any sinful things. So then, Mahodaya, read the next shloka.
अस्तु महोदय। नेहाभिक्रमनाशोऽस्ति प्रत्यवायो न विद्यते स्वल्पमप्यस्य धर्मस्य त्रायते महतो भयात्।
Uttamam. From here, the Karma Yoga starts. So let us let us try to understand what is Karma Yoga. So in Bhagavad Gita, entire Bhagavad Gita shlokas, we get here and there the word called as yoga. So in Bhagavad Gita, in normal world, yoga means it can be asanas or practicing the meditation and dhyana and all those things. But here, yoga means, in Bhagavad Gita, yoga means karma yoga. Karma yoga means nishkama karma yoga. Nishkama karma yoga means doing action without any expectation. That is called as karma yoga. Karma yoga means nishkama karma, performing the duty without doing any action. So how it is possible? So we can just take an example. So helping anyone in expecting something in return, so that is called as sakama karma. So helping others and expecting something in return is called as sakama karma. And Krishna says that shouldn't be done, that should never be done by us. It is because all of us have experienced these things. So if we help someone in expecting something in return, and for some reason that person, if he doesn't help us, so what happens? So we start thinking, I helped him so much, he's not even bothers to call me and ask how am I. So that leads to sorrow, that leads to sadness. I helped them so much, but they're not even asking me how am I, and helping is far away, but they are not even talking to me. So that leads to sadness, and sometimes anger, and sometimes hatredness, and we may stop to talk to that person, we may cut the relations, and all those things will happen. But finally that person is not affected because he's unaware of what's happening within me. So he might have forgotten the help, he might have taken the help, and he might have forgotten, but I am punishing myself. So that's why Krishna says that when we perform some action, we should not expect anything out of it. Only then we can attain inner peace, and that is called as karma yoga. So he says, na iha abhikrama nashosti. Iha means here, means in this karma yoga. Na, there is no. Abhikrama means a seed, sowing the seed or beginning of any task. Abhikrama nashosti, there is no fear of losing any effort. So, and pratyavayo na vidyate, there are no adverse effects. And that is, there is no loss of any effort, and nor are the contrary results attained. Means there is no fear of getting any adverse effects. And then Salpamasya dharmasya, we'll see this little later. So we'll see what is the first line. So in normal sense, in our day-to-day life, suppose we begin something, and if we don't complete, so sometimes there may be adverse effects. Like if we start taking antibiotics and stop them in the middle, doctors say that there will be adverse effects. So we have to complete the course. And also, suppose if we are constructing a well, if we are digging a well in our house, and if we go deep into the 50 feet, 60 feet, and then also if we don't get water, and if we drop that idea, and then what happened? All these days we have taken so much of effort, we have spent so much of energy, time, and money, and that will be total loss if we do not go till deeper till we get water. So that is a waste. But in karma yoga, it is not like that. So whatever we do, suppose I commit myself that during these Deepavali 4 days, every day evening I'll go to temple and I'll light a lamp there in front of God. So 2 days I go, and third days, because of some reason, it may be due to rain, it may be due to some illness, or it may be due to some guests coming to my house. If I'm not able to go there, I'll not get any sin. It is an adverse effects. Pratyevayo navidyate. Definitely, I'll not get sin. And swalpamasya dharmasya. Whatever I have done, 2 days I went, no, 2 days I have done some good thing, no. Trayate mahato bhaya. That will protect me from a big fear. That's what Krishna is telling. In Karma Yoga, little bit of action done that protects you from biggest fear. So don't think that, oh, I wanted to attend the class, or I wanted to teach Bhagavad Gita, I wanted to learn Bhagavad Gita, I wanted to complete 18 chapters, but I couldn't. I did only 3 4 chapters, 5 6 chapters, and for some reason I couldn't continue. Oh, I may get papa. No, it's not like that. How much you have learned, that will definitely help you, protect you, and that will help you to get inner peace. So any task done in towards good deeds, towards the good cause, so that is not wasted in this karma yoga. That will help you. What is this mahato bhayat? A big fear. What is the big fear for the individuals? So always when we work to get money, power, position, so when we keep these uh, fruity results in the mind, when we work for the fruit, and then there is definitely fear that if we don't get that fruit, I have spent so much of time, if I don't get success, if I don't win the elections, what happens? So always there is tension. That is for power. If somebody is working for power, somebody is working for money, position, so what happens? There is a great fear, always fear of losing. What if I lose? But in karma yoga there is no chance. Karma yoga definition itself tells that it's nishkama karma. So there is no expectation at all in karma yoga. That's why there is no fear also. So karma yoga, even if a little bit is done in the path, so that protects us with a great fear. And also because it is karma yoga, there is no fear at all. That's what Krishna is telling. Neha vikrama nashosti. If you begin little bit of karma yoga, and if you cannot complete it for some reason, but then also there will be no adverse effect. You will not get any sin, but whatever you have done, that protects you from a greatest fear. So start doing karma yoga, start doing some good deeds, says Krishna. Bhagini, agre Mahoday agre pathatu.
अस्तु महोदय।
Ha.
व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः एकेह कुरु नन्दन बहुशाखा ह्यनन्ताश्च बुद्धयो व्यवसायिनाम्।
धन्यवाद महोदय. So vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kurunandana. He kurunandana, vyavasayatmika buddhi. Vyavasayatmika buddhi means nischayatmaka buddhi, resolute mind, firm mind, determined mind, one who has firm mind. So then uh, that is vyavasayatmika, one who is having that firm mind, one who is resolute. He will have only one and very clear goal, and before setting the goal, he studies it, thinks about its pros and cons, and his own ability. He thinks many times, can he do it? Does he have enough funds to complete the task? All those things he thinks many times. He studies, he analyzes, and then once if he decides, then he will never look back, and he will never become fickle. He'll never care for the others comments or critics. He'll never care for the difficulties or hurdles on the way to achieve the goal, or he'll never move away from the goal, and he'll never move away from the well thought path, or well planned path. So that is vyavasayatmika buddhi. It is like, suppose an arrow is struck from the bow, so that arrow will not stop till it strikes the target. So the arrow will never look here and there, so directly it will go and hit the target. So the vyavasayatmika buddhi, nischayatmika buddhi, resolute mind, firm mind is like that. The same Arjuna, Today he has become so fickle and unsteady. But once, when they were in Gurukula, so Dronacharya had set one test, has arranged for some. All of you must be knowing this story. So there was a wooden bird which was kept on a tree, and there was a test for all the students. And then the task was, the Dronacharya explains the task. The task was to hit the eye of the bird. So first he calls Yudhishthira, as he was the eldest among the Pandavas and Kauravas, and asks, "Child, Vatsa, what can you see there?" Yudhishthira says, "Oh Guru, I can see the bird." So Dronacharya says, "Okay, you need little more practice. You can go back." And then he calls Duryodhana, as he is the second next to Yudhishthira, and then asks, "What can you see there?" Duryodhana says, "I can see the bird also. Birds, the Yudhishthira had told bird and bird's eyes, bird's eye, one eye. And then Duryodhana says, "I can see bird also, bird's eye also. I can see tree also and tree's branches also." Because Duryodhana thought that I should tell little more than Yudhishthira, because he had always rivalry in his mind. So he thought that I should tell little more than him. So he said, if Yudhishthira can see only bird and its eye, I can see the tree and the branches of the tree. So then Dronacharya says, "Yes, you also need practice. You go back." And then he calls his own son Ashwathama. And Ashwathama thought that I should tell little more than Duryodhana to prove myself that I'm above all these people. So he says, "I can see the bird, its eye, and I can see the tree branches, and I can see the sky and the clouds also." He thought that he can see something else which these people cannot see. And Drona sends him also back. And Dronacharya calls Arjuna and asks, "What you can see?" Arjuna says, "Eye of the bird." Dronacharya asks, "Only eye?" Yes, Arjuna says, "Only eye, only one eye of the bird I'm able to see now, nothing else. I'm not able to see anything else other than that." And then Drona was very happy with that, and he says, "Yes, go ahead, strike the eye of the bird." And Arjuna does it successfully. That is called as Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, that is called as Nischayatmika Buddhi, that is a firm mind. So it may be in the materialistic world, or it may be in the Adhyatmika also. If we have to attain Brahmadhyana, if we are fickle, if your mind is unsteady, then we cannot attain Brahmadhyana. So to understand ourselves, to understand Atman, to understand Brahman, one needs firm mind. Otherwise, it's not possible. So the second line says, "Bahushakahi anantascha avyavasayinaha," says, no. So we'll see what is avyavasayatmika buddhi. So for a person who is having avyavasayatmaka buddhi, his goal is not fixed. He keeps changing the goal. He changes the approach also. If the goal is changed, then path also gets changed. So the approach also changes. And he expects many fruity results from one action. He does minimum work, expect maximum result. And he's moved by people's comments and critics, and he lacks confidence. So that these are the lakshanas of avyavasayatmika buddhi. So ethical mind. So I had a student. He used to stay in my neighborhood, and his mother was my friend, my neighbor. And that student, he finished his BE, and he thought that he will do MTech, that is MTech in IITs, or this IISc. So then, that is, he had to write GATE exam. So he enrolled himself in some academy which give coaching for these things. He purchased books for 5,000 or more than that to study all those things. He started studying. He studied for few months, and once he saw an IAS officer, he thought that becoming IAS officer is prestigious, because he thought that IAS officer, he moves with ministers, and he has a government car, driver, and staying in luxurious hotels, having foreign trips with ministers. He was so much attracted by all these things. So he felt that I should become an IAS officer. So he dumped all the books of this GATE and IISc books, whatever he had purchased, and then the enrollment fees that he had given for that institution, it was non-refundable. So again he enrolled his name in this UPSC examination. So he purchased so many books for this UPSC examination. He started studying for that. After a few months, he saw a businessman, successful businessman like Ratan Tata or Ambani or Adani, and he thought that it is uh, more prestigious to become a businessman, because big politicians also salute a businessman. Businessman is the one who gives funds to politicians. So one has to become businessman, so that we'll have luxurious life also, and all the politicians will also salute us. So he thought that he should become a businessman, and he told his parents that he will begin with his own startup company. So to do that startup company, he has to study MBA. So then he thought that he has to write CAT examination. So then he purchased books for that. He enrolled again for that institution. He dumped all those UPSC examination books, and he started studying for MBA. So that also went for a few months, and finally he couldn't focus his mind in any of these things. He started writing the examination. He couldn't clear any of the things because only three months, few months he had studied each of these things. Lack of all and master of none. He had no mastery, he had no deep knowledge in any of the things. He was he kept on changing his goals, and finally he had to get a job. So because he had already BE degree, so his father gave some reference and he got a job. And now also he's grown up. He may be some 35, 36 year old, but now also he's not happy. He feels that his boss, even though he and his boss work for the same project, his boss is getting more than double of the salary what he is getting. So he is not happy. So this is called as avyavasayatmika buddhi, very unsteady, fickle, not able to decide anything. And such people will never be happy because they are not able to decide anything. What he was looking was only the fruits of the work. He was looking how the IAS officer will get that dignity, how he will roam in luxurious cars, only the fruits, only the enjoyment. He never realized that to become an IAS officer, he has done hard work. To become a businessman, he has gone through so many ups and downs in the life. The Tata or Birla or any businessman, he didn't realize all those things. He was focused only on the fruits, and he was so fickle. His mind was never fixed. So he's not happy even today. So whenever I see this shloka, so that is the example of avyavasaya. Among us also, many people are like that, always fickle minded, always their goal is not fixed. And if in the adhyatmika marga also, if we are like that, then we can never achieve any knowledge. You can never achieve any brahma jnana. That's what Krishna is telling. So bahushakha anantascha. So if the mind is not resolute, mind is not fixed, he will have so many branches to his goal. So as I said, once MBA, or once uh, IIM, or once IIT. So like that, they keep jumping from one branch to another branch. This is bahushakha, is branch of a tree. That's what happens, and they cannot lead happy life in life, lead happiness or get happiness in life. That's what Krishna is telling. Okay, agre patatu mahodaya.
अस्तु महोदय। यामिमां पुष्पितां वाचं प्रवदन्त्यविपश्चितः वेदवादरताः पार्थ नान्यदस्तीति वादिनः।
यामिमां पुष्पितां वाचं प्रवदन्ति अविपश्चितः. Shailaja Bhagini, please mute. Dhanyavad Bhagini. So here, avipaschitaha, he is telling people, those who are less intelligent or not intelligent, and those who are very much attracted to karma kanda section of Vedas. I'll tell you what is this karma kanda. So what they do, they utter flowery words, pushpitam vacham, flowery words about these Vedas. So in Vedas, there is one section called as Karma Kanda that talks about, that says about, that describes about this yajnas and yagas. So even you might have heard all these things. So in ancient time, people used to do Putra Kameshti Yaga to get sons. And some people used to do Jyotishtoma Yaga to get heaven, to go to Swarga. And some yaga to get crops, some yaga to get rain. All of us are aware of these things. So what is this? All these are sakama karma. So we are doing yajna yaga to get something. It's not nishkama, to get something. So some section of Vedas tell these things. So if you want sun, there is nothing wrong, you can have it. But Krishna is telling that uh, this is for such people, Krishna is telling that they are less intelligent. We'll see why they are less intelligent. It is because suppose a person gets son by doing yajna yaga, and is it end of all his sorrows? No, no. So, in spite of getting son, what happened to Dasharatha? Dasharatha also did this. He had no sons, so he got sons by going to a saint and getting some prasadam and all those things and gave it to his wives, and all the story we know. So he got sons, but was it end of all his sorrow? No. If we get um, crops or rain or anything of that kind, so you wish for something. So the karma kanda of this Vedas, so this section, Vedic section, so it is for sense gratification, that is to get something. So it is to get some fruits in life, that is there. But it is not wrong to have anything of these things, but it is not permanent. So we know that on this earth, whatever happiness we have, it is followed by dukkha, it is followed by sorrow. Chakravat parivartante sukhani cha dukkhani cha. No sukha is permanent and no dukkha is permanent. But if we wish for liberation, we wish for moksha, then there is no sorrow. So there is always happiness, there is eternal peace. That's why Krishna is telling that these people, avipaschitaha, they are less intelligent because they are Vedavada rataha, they are attached to Vedic section of sense gratification. And then uh, na anyad astiti vadinaha. So they argue that nothing is greater than sense gratification and opulent rich life. So they believe that the aim of human life is to get happiness. The aim of human life, the ultimate goal of human life is to get swarga. Even we people, when we were small, we have heard so many stories that if we do punya, we'll go to swarga. And suppose someone is deceased, we write that Swargavasigalaadaru, they got Swarga, isn't it? So what we think is the best possible thing for a soul is to attain Swarga. But that's not true, because Swarga is also not permanent. Swarga is temporary. So after gaining, after gathering, after depositing so much of punya, if a person wishes to go to Swarga, he can go, nothing wrong. But he cannot stay there permanently. Once all his punya diminishes, once if it becomes zero, then he has to come back to earth. He has to take a rebirth on earth. So the swarga is like Europe tour. So what people do, they gather all their savings and go to Europe tour. And they, what they do there, only spending. They cannot earn there, they do not have any job there. We people do not have any job there, but we go there and we spend. There is only spending, spending, spending. When our purse becomes zero, it shows the balance zero, then we have to come back to the we have to come back to our motherland, isn't it? And we have to again work. Suppose we have spent 10 lakh rupees there, again we have to work hard to gather 10 lakh rupees. Again we have to work hard for so many years to gather the 10 lakh rupees. Exactly, it is same going to swarga. So after accumulating so much of punya, if you wish to go to swarga, you can go, it is nothing wrong. Going to Europe trip is not a sin, it's nothing wrong, but it is temporary. So that happiness, of course, it is happiness there. So, but it is temporary. Again, the individual should come to, in case of Swarga, the individual should come to this Bhuloka, and he has to perform, and he has to start from scratch, because whatever punya he had earned, everything he has spent in Swarga. No one can stay permanently in Swarga. Only as long as his punya is there, he will be there, and it goes on reducing, as and when he stays there, like how our amount reduces when we stay in Europe. So Europe or any abroad countries, so what happens, we will be only spending, and when our purse becomes shows zero balance, nothing is left there, then we'll come to earth. And uh, only on the earth we can perform karma, we can do a duty. So this is called as karma bhumi. So we can do papa or punya. So all of you must be knowing this papa and punya. So if we do good deeds, so what happens, our there is some account, papa and punya. So if we do good deeds, we are born in a good family where our life will be very smooth, less difficulties. And then if we do sins, then what happens, we may be born in a family where there are difficulties. We may be born as an invalid person, who may be blind or without hands or legs or something like that. Still, if we do some more papa, you may be born as animals, and then we may be born as worms or insects. And we should remember that worms or insects or animals cannot do, they're not entitled to any papa or punya, because their brain is limited. So they don't know papa and punya, they cannot do. Only when we get manava janma, so we have to do papa and punya. That's why they say that when we get this manava janma, we have to do maximum punya, we have to gather maximum punya, so that our future life will be smooth. So when, by doing so much of work and putting so much of effort, when you have accumulated punya, and if we wish to go to Swarga, and that will be a waste. Instead, we can wish to have liberation, we can wish to have moksha, so that we will have permanent happiness. If we wish to go to Swarga for a limited period of time, we may enjoy life, we may get happiness, but again when we come back to earth, then again we will be trapped in this cycle of, or in this dvandva, dualities of life, that is sukha, dukkha, shita, ushna, ninda, stuti, mana, apmana, jaya, apajaya, mitra, shatru. All these things, again we are trapped in this cycle. Again we have to start from the scratch. So that's why Krishna is telling these people, those who think that Swarga is the ultimate goal, those who think that Vedas are the ultimate knowledge treasures, they are avipaschitaha. So they are less intelligent, because they are very much attracted by the flowery words of Vedas, and they don't have knowledge, that they don't know that there is something which is more or greater than this Vedas. They don't know all those things. That's why they think that these Vedas are the ultimate. Mohodaya, agre patatu.
अस्तु महोदय। कामात्मानस्वर्गपराः जन्मकर्मफलप्रदां क्रियाविशेषबहुलां भोगैश्वर्यगतिं प्रति।
Kamatmanaha, so desirous of opulent, rich life, those who want to have rich life, those who want to enjoy life. Swargaparaha, those who praise Swarga a lot, those who have the ambition of visiting Swarga once. And they say that Janma Karma Phalapradam. So Kamatmanaha, Janma Karma Phalapradam, that is getting birth in a good place, that is fruity things. And then kriya vishesha bahulam, so that is uh, fruitive activity towards material opulent and sense enjoyment. So to go to Swarga also, to get so much of punya, they need to gather so much of punya. So they need to work hard. Kriya Vishesha Bahuram. Even though it is fruitive activity towards material opulent and sense enjoyment, but they have to work hard. Bhogaishwaryam prati, to get this Bhogaishwarya also, one need to work hard. And those who are desirous of these things, so they think that the ultimate goal of life is to get Swarga. The ultimate goal of life is only enjoyment. So that's what they think. That's why they are unaware of this, uh, the eternal happiness. That's why they stick for this temporary happiness. They look upon transitory heaven as their highest goal and declare nothing greater than that. Na anyat astiti vadinaha. They argue that there is nothing greater than Swarga. There cannot be anything which is more enjoyable than Swarga. Yes, no doubt it is enjoyable, but it is temporary. So within a limited time, they have to come back to earth and start from the scratch. So Krishna is telling, why you waste your gathered punya in going to Swarga, coming back and again earning punya. So instead, you can at once opt for the permanent gratification, the eternal peace of mind, that is liberation, that is moksha. So one should wish for that, so that whatever you have put effort, so that uh, you will get justification for that effort. Mahodaya, agre patatu.
अस्तु महोदय। भोगैश्वर्यप्रसक्तानां तयापहृतचेतसां व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः समाधौ न विधीयते।
Huh. So, Bhogaishwarya Prasaktanam, people who are attached to the pursuit of pleasure and power, so that is Bhogaishwarya, and Taya Aparuta Chetasam, and those whose minds are bewildered by this Bhoga and Aishwarya, those who have lost their mind to it. And then what happens to them? Vyavasayatmika buddhihi, a determined and reasoned mind is not attained even in the state of samadhauna vidhiyate, even in the state of meditation. If your mind is always thinking of enjoyment, if you are doing something, even in the meditation or the puja or any tapas, if you are doing to get swarga, so then you cannot focus your mind, because your aim itself is not proper, your target itself is not proper. So samadhauna vidhiyate, you cannot focus your mind. So your mind, it cannot be attained even in the state of, even if you sit for meditation, you cannot do meditation, because your mind is not stable, your goal is not right one. That's why the people, those whose mind is bewildered by all this bhoga, aishwarya, enjoyment, all those things, so then they cannot focus their mind in meditation, or they cannot focus their mind in God also. That's what Krishna is telling. Agre patatu Mahodaya.
अस्तु महोदय। त्रैगुण्यविषया वेदाः निस्त्रैगुण्यो भवार्जुन निर्द्वन्द्वो नित्यसत्त्वस्थः निर्योगक्षेम आत्मवान्।
Traigunya Vishayaha Vedaha. So it says, Vedas describe these trigunas. The subject matter of Vedas is related to the three variable qualities. And he says, Arjuna, hey Arjuna, Nistraigунyaha Bhava, be one who is free from the hold of these threefold qualities. What are those threefold qualities? That is Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. So sattva is goodness, calmness, and harmonious. And rajas is passion, activity, and movement. And tamoguna is ignorance, inertia, and laziness. That's why Krishna is telling Arjuna, hey Arjuna, rise above all these three gunas. Because from the sorrow of, and also nirdvandvaha, from the sorrow of dualities, dvandva we have seen, no, sukha dukkha shita ushna. So you should rise above all those things. And then nitya sattvastaha, the one who is ever established in sattva guna. So establish yourself in sattva guna. And niryoga kshema, who is free from the anxieties of acquiring and protecting. And Atmavan, and who is a master of oneself. So Krishna is advising Arjuna to become all these things: Atmavan, Niryoga Kshema, Nitya Satvasta, Nirdvandva, Nistrai Gunya. So, in little details, we'll see all are what is the meaning of all these words one by one. So, first he says Nistrai Gunyaha. So, Gunatita, become Gunatita. So, you be beyond all these three qualities, that is Sattva, Rajas, and Tamoguna. So, while describing these three gunas, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa used to tell one small story. So, there was a traveler in a dense forest. So, a gang of robbers attacked that traveler, and then they snatch everything, whatever valuables he had. And one from that gang says that kill him, otherwise he may go and complain in the police station or the sarpanch or whatever the village head. So kill him. But one more robber says that no need to kill him. Just will tie him to this tree so that he cannot escape. So they ties him to that tree with a rope, and then they leave that place. After some time, one more robber, somehow he escapes from that gang. He comes back and he releases this traveler, the innocent traveler who has not done anything to these people. So he felt very sorry for that fellow, and he released him and took him till the end of that forest and showed the traveler that, see, your village has come, so you can go to your village. And then he was about to join his people, but this traveler, he was highly impressed by the help given by this robber, even though he was a robber. So he says that you have come so near, so you can come to our house and have our hospitality, stay with us for few hours, you can please come to my home. But the robber refuses, telling that I may be kind for you, but I'm still a robber, so I don't want to come with you. I may be caught by the police people inside the village, so I will go and join the group. So all these three people, they are robbers only, but one is good, one is better, and one is worst. So these are Sattva, Rajas, and Tamoguna. So why Ramakrishna Paramahamsa called Sattva Guna also as a robber? Because all these three gunas are the things that will put us in this karma bandhana, that will bind us to this worldly matters. That's why he calls it as one of the robbers. That's why Krishna says Arjuna to rise above all these qualities. So that's why he says that Nistrai Gunyo Bhava. Don't have any of these qualities. You become Nirlipta, Nirvikara. So you get the state of Samadhi. So then these qualities will not trouble you. That's why Krishna says you become Nistrai Gunyaha. And next is Nirdvandvaha. So we have seen, we know that what are Dvandvas. Dvandvas are dualities of life. And then dualities are Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukha, Mana, Apmana, Ninda, Stuti, Shatru, Mitra, and all those things. So, how much ever we take care in our life not to be affected by these dualities, definitely at some point of time, these will hit us very badly in a worse situation. So, very unexpectedly, these things will come and attack us. So, Krishna is telling you must rise above all these things. So, these dvandvas should not affect you. So be careful. So these dvandvas, the sukha and dukkha, should never affect you. And then nitya sattvasthaha. So be established in sato guna. Just in the before line only he said rise above all the three qualities. Now again he's telling be established in sato guna. So one may think that there are contradictory statements. It's not like that. To lead a life on this earth, we have to rely on one of these three gunas, and sato guna is definitely some divine quality. So we should hold on to this, but we should not be attached to it. We should not be proud of it. We should not tell that I am sattvika. We should not think that I am sattvika. So then we can get liberation from the bond of this karma. So Krishna is telling nitya sattvasto, nitya, always sattvasthaha. So be established in satoguna, be a sadhu swabhavi, be a sattvika swabhavi. And then niryoga kshemaha, yoga kshema. Yoga is to obtain, to get something which we don't have. So, always our struggle, our life is always in getting something which we don't have. It may be wealth, it may be companion, it may be power, it may be position, it may be happiness, it may be anything. So, we chase, we run after those things which we don't have. We will not stop till we get those things. So, once we attain those things, and then we try to retain those things, that is kshema. Yoga is to attain and kshema is to retain. See, we try to get some of the things, it may be house, it may be wealth, it may be spouse or whatever. Then we try very hard to protect them, we try very hard to retain them, we try very hard not to lose them. But Krishna says you should rise above this also, because even if how much ever we try hard to retain, sometimes we may lose all these things. It's not in our hands. That's why he says, be detached. Niryoga kshemaha. Do your duty. That's not wrong. Do your duty to protect your family members or whatever, but don't be too attached to that, because everything is not in your hand. In spite of trying hard, you may lose some of the things. That's why become niryoga kshemaha. So be detached from these things. Yoga is to attain and kshema is to retain. So you free yourself from these two, says Krishna. And then Atmavan. So one who is master of oneself, one who has control over his senses is called as Atmavan. That's why Krishna asked Arjuna to become all these things. That is Nistraigunya, Nirdvandva, Nitya Sattastva, Niryoga Kshema. All these things you attain. Only then you will have peace of mind. Is Krishna is telling Arjuna. Bhagini, we'll do one more shloka. Time is up, or we'll do Parayana. Rajlakshmi Bhagini? Okay, that's why I'm asking. Okay, we'll do Parayana and then we can continue. No hurry, no, we don't have exam or anything. Yeah,
अस्तु भगिनि, नो प्राब्लम्.
okay. Dhanyamad. So we'll end the session here, and next week we'll continue with the next shloka. Dhanyamad sarvebhyah. Bhagini, tell the Mangala shloka.
अस्तु भगिनि, एकस् ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ पुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु. समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु. समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु. समस्तसन्मङ्गलानि भवन्तु. Adini, from which shloka I have to do the parayana? Sorry.
That is. I'll just find out.
Yeah, last week I don't remember. I think 27th.
39th. Esha te bhita sankhe buddhi yoge tvimam shrinu.
Previous week also we left.
Okay, then we'll start from there.
28th, 29, I think.
Ascharyavat pashyati, from there.
29th. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.